Hi all, welcome to Module 7, Building and Maintaining a Digital Presence as an Educator. And today we're going to be specifically focusing on the ePortfolio. It's nice joining you all online. I hope you're comfortable and having fun doing class from wherever you are today. I miss seeing all of your wonderful faces. All right. Our agenda today is we're going to go through our guiding principles, have some announcements and updates, focus on the ePortfolio, what's due this week, and preview upcoming weeks. So guiding principles, as always, this is what we start with, what you all made on the Jamboard. Remember when we did the Jamboard, we talked about that we might be online. So a couple things, active participation, listening, being present, being respectful. And I just want to give you a minute to look through the other stickies. All right. I think we can all agree to that. I did want to focus on a couple of your biggest concerns. One was to make sure I know what is due, when, and where it needs to be turned in, and not keeping up with this class. As you can see, I've linked the Jamboard here, and I just want to encourage you for this week to take your time, work through the videos. It's very systematic, and just to remind you that you can do it. Remember, we normally meet for at least 2 hours at Preston, and then you have about 2.5 hours of homework to do. So give yourself time this week, go through things. You know, you can always email me. And I will email you back in 24 hours this week. So just a quick pep talk that you can do it, and we are all set for this week. So one announcement is please check your grades. You've seen this slide before. It's a little bit of a different color scheme to meet with what our orange looks like this week. But please, please, please check your grades. Your grades from the first week we've met till October 11th are going to be locked, meaning that if you want a chance to improve your grade or turn something in, you need to speak with me and make sure that you've submitted from week 1 to week 7 by October 11th. I will not accept any late work after October 11th. If you have questions, you can always Zoom with me, you can do a link with me, whatever you need to do. All right, I'm going to stop here, and we're going to get into Schoology. Actually, I'm going to keep going because it just makes sense. So let me get into Schoology. You can also open Schoology. I'll give you just a second to get there. We are going to be in week 7, module 7. Building and maintaining a digital presence as an educator. As always, we have our learning targets and our Center for Education prep targets. I'm going to click on here. Your first task is going to be modeling and embedding digital citizenship. As you can notice, this is not new. You have seen this. What we're doing is looping through things and knowing that we're going to come back with online privacy, digital citizenship. This was from the video that you watched. What I'd like you to do is, last week you turned in your reflections of your DigCit presentations, and I want you just to brainstorm on how you can model and embed your digital citizen skills into your upcoming lessons. And then below, just share 2 or 3 of your ideas. So that one is just I know we've reflected once, but this is a different time reflecting with an audience. So that's going to be the first thing that you do. Second thing that you're going to do, oh my gosh, the Twitter challenge was so fun. I hope you all had a great time on it. I can't wait to be face-to-face to chat about it and talk about what cool things happened with that. But remember that we have been working with your colleagues at CSU in the 331 class and people from all over the United States, in some of your cases all over the world. So you are going to join the other 331ers and you're going to take place in just a KWL, what you know so far, what you still want to know, and what you've learned. So you're just going to use the columns below to share what you know about Twitter in your PLN, and you will post that on the PLN Twitter. Hopefully at this point, after we've done the Flipgrid, the PLN Twitter, you're starting to really get to know more of your colleagues in 331. All right, so that's the follow-up. Now we are going to go over a couple things. You've got a couple big things this week. One is going to be the EdTech acronym soup, and one is going to be creating the teacher e-portfolio and biography in word cloud. There's going to be a couple videos embedded with each lesson. Michelle Bigler is the star of the video, so she put these together for us. If you remember during your DigCit lesson plans, you were able to go to Creative Commons and grab lessons from your Creative Commons. So I'm modeling that for you today of using lessons that were out there from Michelle Bigler with her permission. Thanks, Michelle. And this will be, this week, we're all going to be doing the same work. So let's click on the EdTech acronym soup, policy and regulations. Here, you'll read through it. You'll watch Michelle's video, and then you're going to watch Michelle's video here. There's a couple things that their class has done different than our class. If she speaks briefly about something that you don't think we've done, we haven't. Let's see, I wrote down a couple things. We did not do an infographic yet. Preston, we are going to do that next week. And we did not do a privacy module. We didn't do that. So as Michelle briefly references those two things, we haven't done that. So I just don't want you to be freaked out about that. So look at, you'll watch this video, I think it's 4 minutes, then you'll watch this video, which is about 11 minutes. We have our own site for, or our own slides for EdTech, so you'll see just us, our Preston class with that, but you'll do everything she says in the video, okay? So now let's go back one. Creating a teacher e-portfolio. This is going to be huge. So no matter who you have for instructors in your next upcoming classes, they will all expect that every person coming into their class has the same e-portfolio in the same format. So it's really, really important that you watch this video and that you get everything done. Your framework will be due next week. It will be peer reviewed, and then you'll make some adjustments, and then the following week I will grade it. So you will watch this video. It's about 12-ish minutes, and then you will do everything that's in there, knowing next week your peers will review it. Okay, so we'll do a one-on-one peer review for that. That's creating a teacher e-portfolio. The next thing is going to be a teacher biography in word cloud. I want to share my biography with you, or my word cloud with you. Let me get there. Right. So a couple things that when it pulls up, there's some things that are bigger, and those things are kind of what's important to me right now and what has shaped who I am. You guys know, you all know that unfortunately right now cancer is a pretty big part of my life. So families up there, osteosarcoma specifically. Next week you're going to hear from a student named Laurel about engineering brightness, which is going to be super, super exciting. But I wanted to dive in just a little bit to you about my teaching background. I know sometimes when we start classes, we tend to be pretty teacher-centric and tell our students all about us. If you've noticed, I've given you little bits, but I didn't spend a whole bunch of time week one on that. But I do want to let you know a couple things that have framed who I am as a teacher and as an educator. I've taught in 4 different countries. I've taught in Hungary, in Japan, Colombia, and the United States. My first job in the United States, I taught at a public high school. And my public high school was in Denver. But the interesting part about it was nestled in this cute little neighborhood right by Casa Bonita, if you've ever been there. And so it had a wonderful, wonderful neighborhood presence. And we had kids who had been expelled from Denver public schools coming to our school. So I would have a classroom of kids who had been expelled, like kicked out of DPS, and the neighborhood school kid all in one class mixed together. My first year as a teacher, I was pretty young. I had some kids who were only 3 years younger than me, so that was challenging. And I had a drug interaction happen in my classroom that very clearly I saw. I saw drugs go from one hand to the other, money go from one hand to the other, sent them to the office, and within 10 minutes they were back in my class. So that was some real interesting learning for me. I had a gang shooting my first year. Some really crazy things happened, and I adored the school. I loved it, loved it, loved it. I had an opportunity to come back to Fort Collins. You might have heard of a new school called Bamford Elementary that just opened. Gary Bamford was my first principal in Fort Collins. He called me when I was working in Denver and said, I'd love for you to come interview for a job. And I said, no, I'm very happy in Denver. And he called again. And when we talk about PLNs and people who have influenced our teaching career, Gary Bamford was one of the first people who really invested in me and really made me believe that it was a good fit to come to Preston. And as you know, I've been at Preston ever since. So those are just a couple things. So you'll see Japan on there. You'll see global. Let me give you one maybe fun fact. Oh, of course, you know I love to garden. Sorry, I can bring you anything over the internet. Oh, 14ers. I've done 5 14ers. I'd like to do more, but I love it. So when you do your word cloud, I want you to think about things that your parents, not your mom and dad, your students, guardians, parents, families are going to see, and that your students are going to see. So when I show my students this, one thing they always ask me about is jail. And it's intriguing enough that they wonder if I've been in jail, but really what I want to tell them is another job that I had was I worked at a residential program for violent sexual offenders 18 and under, and I was the teacher for that. It was a very, very humbling job, and it really taught me a lot about how education needs to meet the needs of the students, and how for many people, no matter what your background is, education is your ticket. For me as a kid, education was my safe place. It was a place that I was able to explore things that were bigger than my own world. And for me, it doesn't matter if I'm at Preston or CSU or the school I taught in Japan was called Kakamigahara Koko, where I taught in Bogota in Colombia and in Cali, Colombia. And in Hungarian, the only thing I can remember how to say is egészségedre, which means either when you sneeze, God bless you, or cheers at dinner. So egészségedre. And it doesn't matter what youth is in front of me. What matters is that I get to know them, and that the time that we've spent together, we can walk away knowing we've both enriched each other's lives. And so that's kind of been a guiding principle for me. That's what you're going to do with your word cloud. You're going to write a biography first, and then you're going to make a word cloud. Hold on just one sec for me. Hello, escape. So that's what you're going to be doing. Ooh, wrong slide. Sorry. Alrighty. So here, that's your teacher biography in word cloud. Okay. And then of course I've given you an extension activity. You don't have to do it, but you can. Some people like to have a little bit of extra. You don't need to. I just want to make sure I'm differentiating for those who want a little bit more. So to summarize,